My name is Ashley Rains. I'm 32, the youngest daughter of a family that prides itself on tradition, silence, and clean reputations. My father used to run compliance at one of the top biotech firms on the West Coast. My siblings went into law, politics, and PR, roles that keep secrets locked behind charming smiles and airtight NDAs. I went into nursing. Quiet, hands-on, never important enough to be dangerous. I was always the one left out of family decisions, labeled too emotional, too soft. But when I gave birth to my daughter 10 weeks early and texted the group, "We're in the NICU. Please pray," I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd show up. They didn't. And when my phone lit up an hour later, not with prayers, but with my father's voice telling me to stay quiet and don't move, I realized I was never out of their game. I was just the next piece. 3:17 a.m. The NICU corridor glowed with sterilite, the kind that makes everything feel too clean, too empty. Machines whispered and beeped like they were hiding something. My hands hovered over the plastic of the incubator, inches from the small body inside. My daughter, Luna, 2 pounds and change, bones visible through translucent skin, her breath a flicker of movement under tubing. I sent the message. Group chat. "We're in the NICU. Please pray." It delivered. Read by 4. Responded to by 0. I didn't cry. I just watched the screen, expecting some warmth to pour through it. A call. A check-in. Nothing. Then a buzz.
Dad.
Voicemail. His voice was flat.
No panique.
No love. Just Ashley.
Stop messaging them. You need to listen to me.
Now.
The air changed.
A nurse passed behind me, whispering something about sedation schedules. I didn't hear the rest. My heart started pounding with the kind of rhythm that doesn't match the machines. My badge. I checked it again. It had a red flash when I walked in. I thought it was nothing. A system lag. "Excuse me," I asked the security officer near the NICU entrance. "Did someone access my clearance tonight?" He hesitated. "There was an override. About an hour ago." Override. Not a mistake. Not a glitch. I stepped away from the counter. My breath was sharp.
Thin.
Another buzz. Unknown number. Text, "Stay where you are." My first instinct?
Run.
I didn't. I checked the cameras. The NICU had internal feeds, but access required a separate login. The nurse's console. I slipped toward it. A tech had left their screen on, unattended for 60 seconds. I was always good with seconds. I clicked through the logs. Ashley Rains, access at 2:02 a.m. Then again at 2:37 a.m. I hadn't left my daughter's side. I hadn't used my card twice. The camera near pod 9, Luna's pod, had footage. Not a clear face. Not a doctor. A tall figure in a surgical gown. Head covered. Holding a clipboard.
Cut to static.
I closed the tab. My chest tightened. I could hear the buzz of fluorescent lights above me, like a fly that wouldn't stop screaming. Who had access to my badge?
Who would want in?
I called my father. Voicemail again. I tried my brother. Straight to voicemail. My mother? She never picked up after 9 p.m. Not even for a funeral. A nurse walked by. She didn't meet my eyes. Nurses always met your eyes when you were hurting. That was our code. I stepped back to Luna's pod. Her chest rose and fell. Her fingers were curled. Her monitor beeped low, slow.
Calm.
Then I saw it. Across the glass. A figure in the shadowed hall on the other side. Watching. Not moving. My breath hitched. A cold drop of sweat slid down my spine. I turned to get a nurse. By the time I looked back, the hallway was empty.
But I knew what I saw.
And I knew one thing for sure now. I wasn't alone. And someone had already touched my daughter before I did. The figure was gone. 1 second there, then not. I stared through the NICU glass. Luna slept, or maybe just held on. Her chest barely moved beneath the wires. I forced myself to breathe, 1 second at a time. I turned and walked fast. Not rushed, fast. Past the front desk. past the nurse who wouldn't meet my eyes. I didn't stop until I hit the main elevators. The glass panel showed my reflection under the glow of 3:45 a.m. skin.
Pale.
Tight-jawed.
Not me. Not yet.
One sentence kept looping in my head. Stay where you are. Not advice. A warning. Someone had eyes on me. Elevator door opened. A woman in a lab coat stepped out. I stepped in. She looked back at me. Not a smile, not concern. Something colder. Measured. Underground parking. I didn't drive tonight, but I needed to move.
Think.
Check the cameras again. I had a gut. Not a hunch.
Gut.
When your gut screams, run. When your brain says you're paranoid, listen to your gut anyway. I stepped into the stairwell beside the parking deck.
Cut to.
Footsteps. Behind me. Too light for boots. Too slow for coincidence. I took the stairs fast, 2 at a time. Turned left at the second landing. The fire exit door was propped open barely. A gust of wind caught it. Slammed shut behind me. Outside.
Cold.
Seattle rain starting again, soft and steady like it was washing away evidence. I called my father. Straight to voicemail. I texted, someone access Luna's NICU pod. Who? No reply. I stood under the parking deck floodlight and checked my badge history. A secure link. It showed login logs. Ashley Rains, badge used at 2:37 a.m. That wasn't me. Another message came through. Not from Dad. Unknown number. They know you know. Don't go home. I went home. The drive was short. Too fast. Every green light felt planted. Every brake light in front of me looked too red. When I pulled into the driveway, I knew. Before I even unlocked the door. The house smelled wrong. Not like food or garbage. Like something missing. Warmth. Familiarity. That scent of fabric softener on the couch throw?
Gone.
I walked inside. No broken glass. No drawers open. But things had shifted. Our wedding photo.
Crooked.
The kitchen calendar? A page torn off. My old manila folder. The one I kept my nursing license, birth certificate, social security info in, empty. On the floor under the side table something glinted. A USB stick. Labeled in pen, insurance claim 02x17, reopened. I clicked it into my laptop. Password protected. 4 tries. On the 5th, I typed Luna's birth weight. 1.97. It opened. Video file. Dated 13 days ago. Timestamp. 2:06 a.m. The screen flickered.
Hospital hallway. Night.
A man in scrubs pushes a rolling cart.
Covered.
The camera angle cut suddenly. Zoomed in on a signature page. I froze. The signature was mine. But I never signed it. Document title. Consent for emergency guardianship transfer. Rain's infant. Neonatal phase. The page blurred. Then flashed to another. A voiceover.
Male. Com. Familiar.
The subject is tracking within expected markers. Full access to decision-making has been obtained. No further notification required under Clause 38B. I slammed the laptop shut. Clause 38B. I knew that clause. My father used to talk about it. Back when he was at Virion Biotech. It was in a case where a woman lost her medical authority because she had a seizure during labor. They used it to justify taking the baby for experimental prophylactic care. The quote rang in my head. Some risks you don't inherit. You're chosen for them. I looked around. The silence in the house wasn't empty. It was heavy, like someone had stood in the same room with me 10 minutes ago, just long enough to listen. A cold draft passed under the back door. Every instinct in me screamed to leave, but not before grabbing what I needed. I pulled out the locked drawer in the hallway closet, the one I'd used for emergency travel. Inside, expired passport, burner phone, cash, a key I hadn't seen in years.
Brass. Engraved R101.
It belonged to my father's old medical storage unit, the one he closed when I was 19. Last he said, "What's inside isn't for you." I stuffed it in my jacket, grabbed Luna's hospital file. My laptop. Left the rest. As I stepped back into the rain, my phone buzzed again. Blocked number. A voice this time. Female.
Low.
Controlled. You're moving too fast, Ashley. You still think this is about her. It never was. My hands shook. I looked back at my house. The porch light flickered. The neighbor's window shut fast, like someone had been watching. I turned toward my car, heart pounding so loud I couldn't hear the rain anymore. The night wasn't empty. It never had been. My phone rang again. Unknown caller. I didn't answer. I didn't need to, because the voicemail already downloaded. And the first word was Luna's name. Luna's name on a voicemail. From a blocked number. I pressed play with a thumb I couldn't feel. She's stable for now. You're not the one they want, Ashley. You never were. The line cut. No caller ID.
No reply.
Just silence. Outside, wind shoved against the car. Street lamps flickered. A truck passed, slow and deliberate, like it was watching me through tinted windows. I locked the doors. Engine off. No plan. My fingers moved before my brain caught up. Back to the USB. I opened the document folder. Buried beneath the video was a PDF titled Access Protocol, Phase R. Password required again. I guessed the same code. Luna's birth weight. Rejected. Third try. My own. 1.92. It opened. The document was government dense, layered with legal disclaimers, research terms, case IDs. Phase R reigns. It was never just Luna. It started with me. My name, date of birth, early test scores, IQ markers, rare neonatal protein anomalies. Subject retained under familial compliance agreement. Familial. They didn't monitor me. They kept me. I remembered something Dad once said when I asked why we never had birthday parties like other kids. Visibility is vulnerability. Cut to downtown. Virion Building. I parked across the street. 2 blocks from the hospital, 10 floors of tinted glass and controlled access. My dad's old fortress. He hadn't worked here in years, but he still had contacts. And secrets. I buzzed at the main door. Said I was from insurance review. Code words. He taught me when I was 17 just for fun. They worked. Elevator. Floor 7. My heart kept up with each ding. Inside. Silence. Receptionist gone. Offices dark. A red hallway light blinked in rhythm. My breath joined it. I turned left. Past the fire exit. His old office, now someone else's. But the room he called the vault was still there. I pulled out the brass key.
R101.
The lock turned. The air was stale. Carpet worn. A single bulb overhead flickered like a dying lie. In the cabinet, black folders, labeled only with initials and codes. I found one with mine. Inside, medical records. Handwritten notes. Photos. Photos of me as a newborn. Connected to machines. Labeled Trial A, Subject 3. Below it, Luna. Different timestamp. Different hospital. But same machine configuration. I grabbed my folder, slammed the drawer shut. Turned and froze. The vault door had closed. And locked. Footsteps. A voice, familiar. You really shouldn't be here.
Spoon. Nora.
Dad's old assistant. Always polite. Always cold. She wore no name tag.
No buy.
Just black scrubs and gloves. They're watching from every angle. You're not helping her now. I stepped back. Where is she? Not here anymore. Then where? Nora didn't answer. I lunged toward the door. She didn't try to stop me. But she said one last thing, soft and cruel. You should ask your husband why he never signed the birth certificate. Cut to hospital. Back hallway. 3rd floor. Medical records. It wasn't hard to break into the archives. I'd worked here long enough. I knew which camera was fake and which badge reader blinked on a 10-second delay. I typed Luna's medical record number. Up came the file. Father's name, blank. Then I looked closer. There had been a name there once. Deleted. Scrubbed. Admin access only. Timestamp: 3 hours after Luna's birth. While I was unconscious from surgery, whoever removed it had clearance. Ethan. My chest seized. I leaned against the file cabinet. If he deleted his name, what else did he sign? I called Ethan. Voicemail. Of course. It's me. I need to know what you did. What you signed. I'm not asking. I'm done asking. I didn't leave my location. I deleted the call after sending it. The hospital smelled like ammonia and secrets.
Ivar kid fast.
Head down. Just a mother checking in. But when I reached the NICU doors, the panel flashed red. My badge was blocked. I tried again.
Red.
A nurse stepped out. I recognized her, Dawn. She looked like she wanted to vanish. Dawn, I said, stepping in front of her. Where's my daughter? Her eyes darted. Dawn, what happened? You shouldn't be here, Ashley. Tell me. She looked around, whispered. Your daughter was transferred an hour ago. Authorized by your father. The lights above me went blurry. She's gone. Dawn nodded. He brought papers. Notarized. Legal. The administrator signed off. Ashley, he had it all prepared. My knees buckled, but I didn't fall. Some people collapse. Some people detonate. I turned toward the security desk. Then ran. I didn't slow down until the automatic doors slammed shut behind me. Security shouted. Someone called my name. Someone else called a code. It all blurred into noise, like sirens underwater. I cut left, then right, then straight through the stairwell marked authorized personnel only. I used my shoulder. The door gave. Down 3 flights.
2 at a time.
My lungs burned. My head stayed clear. There's a moment when fear stops feeling like panic and starts feeling like math. Options. Exits. Consequences. I reached the 3rd floor and ducked into a staff locker room.
Empty.
Fluorescent lights flickering. I locked the door, slid down the wall, and counted to 5. Fear lies. Patterns don't. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Hospital dead zone. I switched to the burner. 1 bar. I dialed the number from the voicemail. Straight to silence. Then the burner vibrated. Text. Same unknown number. You just made this harder. I typed back. Where is she? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then, off-grid. My hands shook, but my voice in my head was steady. Someone once told me that the people who win aren't the bravest. They're the ones who don't ask permission to survive. I stood. Checked the mirror. I didn't look like a grieving mother anymore. I looked like someone who had crossed a line and couldn't go back. Cut to NICU service corridor. I didn't badge in. I followed. A transport team pushing an empty isolette. Heads down. No eye contact. I slipped in behind them, counted steps, turned when they turned. We stopped at a restricted wing.
No windows. No saini.
The kind of place hospitals pretend doesn't exist. The isolette was rolled away. The room behind the doors? Empty. Not just moved. Stripped.
No wires. No monitors. No paperwork.
I yanked open a drawer. Dust outlined where a chart used to be. A janitor pushed a cart past me. He paused. Looked at my face. You shouldn't be here, he said quietly. I know, I said. Where did they take her? He shook his head once. A warning, not refusal. Third-party transfer, he whispered. Private.
Private.
The word landed like a punch. Hospitals don't do private with neonates unless lawyers are already involved. I backed away.
Slowly.
Thanked him. Because manners still matter when you're invisible. Cut to my car. I drove without headlights for 2 blocks. Then turned them on like nothing was wrong. My phone came back to life as I crossed into a new cell zone. 6 missed calls. 1 voicemail. From Ethan. I didn't listen.
Not yet.
I drove home again. Because if someone wanted me panicking, the worst thing I could do was give them predictability. The house was darker this time. Too dark. Porch light off. The door was unlocked. I stepped inside and knew instantly I wasn't alone. The air had shifted. cooler, like a room that had been aired out after secrets. The living room was clean, too clean, but the hallway mirror,
cracked.
a thin spiderweb fracture across the glass. Recent. Someone had stood there, long enough to look at themselves as me. I followed the crack to the floor. Another USB drive. This one labeled, Claim Denial, reactivated. I didn't open it yet. I went to the bedroom. Closet open. Half my clothes gone. The practical ones. Shoes missing. Passport gone. Whoever did this wasn't improvising. They were editing me out. I finally played Ethan's voicemail. His voice was wrong.
Too calm.
Ashley, I need you to stop. Whatever you think is happening, you're wrong. Your father asked me to help keep you safe.
Keep you safe.
The phrase families use right before they burn you. I whispered to the empty room. Safe from what? My phone buzzed again. A new message. Same number. He didn't tell you everything. I replied. Neither did you. A photo came through. Grainy. Night vision. A baby in an isolette.
Luna. Alive.
But the background wasn't any hospital I knew. Concrete walls.
No logos. No windows.
Below the image. Last chance to stay a mother. I swallowed hard. My reflection in the cracked mirror looked like a stranger. Someone once said that when the truth finally shows itself, it doesn't knock. It kicks the door in. I opened the second USB. Video file. Older. Dated decades ago. A newborn. Connected to machines. Too familiar. Then a caption burned onto the screen. Ashley Rains, subject 02. My knees gave out. The video kept playing. A man's voice. Younger. My father's. If we don't do this now, she won't survive the future. I laughed.
Once.
Sharp and broken. Liar, I said to the screen. I stood up, grabbed the burner, the folder, the key, and walked back out into the night. If disappearing was the only way to protect her, then I would vanish better than they ever expected. And somewhere behind me, unseen but very close, someone started following. The drive east felt endless. Not by time, by weight. My GPS was useless. I followed coordinates buried in the USB metadata, a place no one should go unless they had something to hide. Somewhere past the edge of the map, concrete roads gave way to gravel. Cell service dropped. The trees got too quiet. Rain hit the windshield in needles. Headlights cut through fog like scalpels. My fingers locked tighter on the wheel. You're not being brave, I whispered. You're being necessary.
Cutscene.
Chain link fence.
En marked gata.
Rusted keypad. I typed in the 6-digit code from my father's old planner. It beeped once. Then the gate groaned open. The facility was smaller than I expected. A squat, gray building. Industrial, plain, quiet. Like nothing bad could ever happen here. Bad things never scream. They hum. I parked beside an empty SUV. Still warm. Inside, the lights were on. Fluorescent, harsh, clinical. The air reeked of antiseptic and something older, like dust and secrets. Corridor.
Left.
Then right. Then I heard her. Luna's cry. Not loud.
Weak.
But hers. I ran. Found her inside a small room behind a glass door. Alone. Hooked up to machines.
No nurses. No nameplates.
No cameras I could see. Only her. And then the voice behind me said, You shouldn't have come alone. I turned.
Simone.
My aunt. My father's sister. The one who always brought casseroles to family funerals. The one who knew how to fake warmth with just the right smile. She didn't look surprised. She looked tired. I asked them to keep you out of this, she said, folding her arms. You should have stayed gone. What is this? You already know. No, I said. I knew you were a liar. I didn't know you were a monster. She didn't flinch. She walked to Luna's isolette and adjusted the oxygen tube with the precision of someone who had done it hundreds of times. You weren't supposed to survive, Ashley. But you did. You were the first. And you gave birth to the second. The second. A breath caught in my chest and refused to leave. Simone's voice softened, almost maternal. You think family is about love? It's about replication. Control.
Continuity.
That's what we are.
Continuity.
You just weren't told. I stared at Luna, her body so small, wrapped in wires and reasons.
She's not part of this, I said.
She's a child. So were you.
Cut scene.
She stepped back from the crib and picked up a clipboard.
Held it out to me.
Read the protocol. It's all here. No one's hiding anymore. I didn't take it. I'm leaving with her. Simone laughed, short and cruel. Then she'll die. You unplug that machine, and the oxygen dips too far, too fast, she crashes. These aren't hospital models. These are trial grade. Calibrated to her DNA. Move her without reprogramming. You kill her yourself. I looked at the machine. Numbers pulsing. Steady, but fragile. You're bluffing. I'm betting on math. Same as your father did. Flashback.
Fast. Short.
My dad reading a contract by candlelight.
Saying.
You don't need to know the system to beat it. You just need to know where it leaks.
Back to now.
I moved toward the plug. Simone stepped closer. You pull that cord, Ashley. I pulled it. Alarm screamed. The monitor flatlined. Luna jerked once. My heart stopped. I reached down, lifted her tiny body. Tube snapped. I ran.
Cut scene. Hallway.
Sirens. Security door slamming shut. I smashed the release bar with my elbow. Rain outside. Harder now. My feet pounded wet concrete. My jacket stuck to my arms like skin. A black SUV swerved into view. Headlights blinding. Door already open. Ethan. I didn't stop to question it.
I dove in.
He drove.
Fast.
No words. Just breathing. And then he handed me something. A tablet. Open to a recorded Zoom call. Corporate logos. Granite bio. Legal advisor. Investment group. A voice over the speaker said. Subject 02 successfully carried through second-generation pregnancy. Project viability confirmed. Ethan looked at me. I found it yesterday. I was going to bring it to you.
Then.
Everything happened. I stared at the screen. My name. Luna's name. Labeled as assets. Not daughters. Assets. I held Luna tighter. Her breathing had steadied. Outside, headlights moved behind us. Too many. I turned to Ethan. They're not done. He nodded.
No.
But neither are we. And somewhere in the distance, another set of lights blinked on. We were no longer running. We were being hunted. The courtroom was silent. That rare kind of silence where even the air seems to wait. I sat there, pulse a war drum, watching my father, handcuffed, eyes still smug, as the judge read the final ruling. 2 counts of wire fraud. 1 count of elder abuse. Multiple financial offenses. Years of lies unraveled in 15 minutes. He didn't look at me. Not once. I thought justice would feel like a thunderclap. But instead, it was quiet.
Hollow.
Like standing in the ashes after a fire you didn't set, but had to survive. Sometimes people don't stab you in the back. I whispered to Nolan later. They feed you first. The weeks after the sentencing passed in a haze of paperwork, press calls, and questions from people who had once ignored my existence. Family members emerged like ghosts, offering weak apologies, justifications, or complete denial. You know how your dad could be, they said.
No.
They didn't. Because they never bothered to look close enough. I stayed at Nolan's place with Luna. The silence of our temporary apartment felt like a luxury.
No cameras. No emails.
No locked office drawers. Just breathing space. One night, while Luna slept, I opened the manila envelope from Detective Cowan. Inside were the raw images from the investigation. Bank statements. Secret transactions. Surveillance shots. And at the very bottom, a picture of the last will my mother had signed months before she died. With my name. In her handwriting. Dad had hidden it. It was all there. A single thought pulsed through my head. He never wanted me to win. He wanted me to disappear. The media called it the Gallivan family scandal. But for me, it wasn't a scandal. It was a reckoning. Every headline twisted the truth. They said it was about money. It wasn't. It was about power. About a man who couldn't stand that his daughter wouldn't stay broken. I didn't need their sympathy. I needed my baby healthy. I needed peace. I got both. 3 months after the verdict, I stood outside the NICU, watching Luna giggle at the ceiling lights like they were stars.
She had survived.
We had survived. The nurse wheeled her out, and as I signed the release papers, I caught my reflection in the plexiglass. No longer the outsider. No longer the girl everyone forgot in a group chat. Just a mother, with a daughter, walking away from the fire and never looking back. Pain doesn't define you, I told Luna softly. But surviving it? That might. I left behind the mansion. The legacy. The inheritance that meant blood over love. Instead, I took the truth. Filed a civil suit. Donated my share of the frozen assets to NICU charities. Changed my last name back to my mom's maiden name, Holloway. I didn't want to be a Gallivan anymore. Let the world romanticize dynasties. I built something better. Honest. Brutal.
Earned.
Years later, on Luna's birthday, Nolan asked if I'd ever tell her everything. I smiled, watching her play in the grass, sunlight in her curls. Maybe, I said. But I'd rather show her what it means to be strong. Let her grow up knowing secrets can't rot you if you never let them fester. Because monsters wear suits. And villains say grace at dinner. But mothers? Mothers remember. And I remember everything.